I had one conversation with a leading artist. Basically, I asked him, like, have you ever shown your faith in the art space? He said he tried, but that almost cost his career. When Facebook came, there was no Christian doing that in the same social space. We just handed over. The project can represent a flag in that space there. We're here. We're in the space.
I see the argument for like having Christian alternatives to things just as much as I see the argument we just need to be where everybody is. Everybody's on OpenSea. We need to be on OpenSea. You just have this other place, LightDAO, where Christians can kind of just make their presence known.
If you go to OpenSea now, type Christian, they're not representing any of our belief. Look at those. It's a Christian art. The NFT space is stuck. Either you'll be influenced or you'll be influenced. That's the only two options at the moment.
Welcome back to the Crypto Conversion Podcast. I'm excited to be here with you today again. We have with us today Chen. He is the captain of the LightDAO project, and he is also a missionary with the WEC Missions Organization. It's an early morning for us. It's 5 a.m. here, and I know it's 4 a.m. for Brandon, but Jay is in UK, so it's 10 a.m. over there for him. So it's a morning for all of us. An earlier morning for some of us, but now we're all up and ready to go. So Jay, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just still adjusting my jet lag.
Yeah. So when did you? I know you were in China for a little bit. When did you get back from China?
The day before yesterday.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I got it. So there's a little bit of adjusting to do for you as well. So we actually tried to do this podcast a few weeks back when Jay was in China, and the time difference, I think at that time was like, what was that, 9 hours, 7 or 9 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little tough to coordinate, but no, happy to be here today. So Jay, I think we want to talk a little bit about your LightDAO project and what the purpose is behind it. And we're also kind of interested in maybe your experience being a missionary with WEC. So I think to get started off, we were just kind of curious if maybe you could share with us your Christian journey, you know, whether you were born into a Christian family or you converted later on. You know, what's the story behind that? How did you come to the church?
Yeah, I can start with my great grandfather, because I was born in a Christian family, and the old story which I told by my grandma is she said we during that period of time there's some evil spirit, what they call like in our family, and my great grandfather and the grandmother, they're trying to get out of that evil spirit. They couldn't, and they're thinking, yeah, because at that time China is it's Buddhism. So they went to the temple. They tried different sort of thing. It doesn't work. So one day they heard someone in our city saying like, "Oh, they're the one guy." But the guy is a foreigner. He's doing something different. So so they decide to see the foreigners. But turn out that later on we understand it's a missionary from the UK, and he now at the time for them they don't understand because they're praying in Jesus' name, so they're casting demon out. So everything back to normal. So since then, my family they start practicing Christianity since quite a long way back. So I am, if I count now, I am the 5th generations Christians. So yeah, but my personal journey with the Lord is a little bit different because I came to the UK when I was very small, so without parent. So at that time, I just feel like, oh, there's quite big freedom. If you imagine, like I have a bunch of money, then there's no parents around. At that time, I'm younger than pre-teenagers, so I have a lot of freedom to control. Yeah, so that at that time I just feel that is freedom. So Yeah, if I looking back, it's a funny thing. The first thing I do is like, I came to UK. First, I just came. I went to the game shop, so I bought a game console, start playing game all night, all day long. Yeah, that yeah. But I think that at that time, because even though I was, I was inherited with a lot of Christian values, everything, but actually it doesn't have a real relationship with the Lord. So I was doing a lot of things like Christian normally does, but at the time I don't want really commit myself as a Christian. Maybe someone asking, "Oh, are you Christian?" I probably not answering like straight away or right away because I trying to blending in with the others. Like because I feel I didn't do good enough at the time. So then if I moving forward, like my journey is like I think the Lord just calling me up, like building up my personal relationship with Him. So my turning point is until it's quite late. Turning point is until when I was in the uni in the UK, and one day I was I was doing we went out for clubbing, nightlife clubbing, as a uni life. So and I think after the clubbing, I just feel like that's it's different because myself I usually don't drink. So every time I go clubbing with my friend, everyone get drunk, and only me is awake. So every time I have to help them to get back to the university accommodation. I just feel why I'm hanging out with them. Like I just feel I'm not like same group. I'm not doing the same thing with them, and I didn't feel one thing. I didn't feel I couldn't find any belonging. Like I because I just feel bored. Like every time they're quite happy. For me, just I sitting there waiting them get drunk, then come back to the place stay. So then I decided, okay, maybe I should go back to church. So then I start going back to the church. Then since I returned to the church, I something I feel like, oh, this is a place I should be with. Then yeah, so since then I started serving the church, then I get myself building up more the close relationship with the Lord. Yeah, that's a little story from from my
Gotcha.
family. Then I get baptized very late. I get
Oh,
baptized until when I was 26, 26, yeah. Because
gotcha.
I decided very late. Because of my mom told me one time I think her I think she said like if you baptize now and if you sin again, you're getting worse. Like basically, I know this is wrong teaching, but I think for her perspective view, she's thinking like, yeah, just do a little bit better. Don't don't mess up, basically. But I think, but later on, I understand like, where believing is not it's not by works, it's by grace. So then I just okay, I decide to baptize, and yeah, that is my little pre journey
I
Yeah.
feel
So,
like
story.
I,
I feel like that's a super Chinese family disposition though, where it's
Yeah,
just like if you're gonna do it, just do it right and
yeah,
do it
yeah,
because you're doing it right and don't ask questions. So
yeah, yeah,
that's kind
well,
of funny that your mom was just
yeah.
like if you're gonna do it, just don't mess up. Like
yeah, yeah,
Well, I was actually going to say it's kind of funny because it's this like I think something probably like a Protestant Catholic divide there too. With the
yeah, yeah,
the pedo baptism, right? Some
yeah,
Protestants don't believe in that; they would rather get baptized later on. But funny enough, I was reading Confessions of Saint Augustine, and Saint Augustine's mother was actually the same way. She didn't want. I don't know if it was like baptism, but she didn't want like her son coming to the church until she was like satisfied that he was living right because she was afraid he
yeah,
was going to
yeah,
condemn himself. So I think it's just mom fears. I
yeah.
don't fully understand that, but So your mom was very similar to Saint Monica.
Saint Monica.
Yeah.
So cool. So you said that was about 26. I don't know about how old you are now. So how many years ago was that?
That is about 15 years ago.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you came back to the church, you got baptized. And about when did you start working with your missions organization, WEC?
That is my calling journey. So I start basically from the first time I heard like the callings from 2015. That's first time we wife and I and with my children we went to a mission conference for the first time. So we met some pastor from the US, from other places. They're talking about mission, and at that time we just wow. I think that the Holy Spirit touched us. Like we just feel like people dying every day, and you don't know whether they heard about the good news or not. So it just struck us. So during the conference, we just in the end they were normally calling up the people, say who want to serve. Yeah, so I'm the first one. I came on the stage, and my wife at that time. That's the first night. My wife is sitting behind, and then later on at that night, my wife asked me, "Why do you want to? Why you jumping on the stage? You should discuss with me first. we need to have discussion before." but funny thing is that on the last night, she also went to the stage. So I think the Lord touched us both us. So since then, I think we had like sense of like calling, but at that time we're still exploring like where and what kind of area, like because I told the Lord like I'm not that kind of like pastoral. I'm not. I didn't feel I want to be the pastor. I didn't feel like I good enough, not good enough. Like I'm not good at like pastoral people, like basically. So I just talked to the Lord like, yeah, I would love to serve you, but with my skill. So I think until the pandemic came, so the Lord, we have plenty time to pray, as a family together, because no work. So we have been locked down in the house. So I think during that time, I think one day I was heard about it's very classical sermon from Billy Graham about the life is short. So during his sermon, he used the example from the U.S. Average man's life. He says average man's life in the U.S. is about 72 years, and at that time, when I heard about that, I said, "Whoa, 72 years! Then my half of my life is gone." Like, then I said, "Lord, if you give me like 80 years, if I can live around 80 years, then what I'm going to do with my second half? Because I love soccer, so I suddenly compare like, I finished my first half, so what am I going to do in my second half?" So then I start again. Basically, the God just remind me about like, you did a few years ago. That is 2017. You did a conference. Yeah, we answer her his calling. So then I prayed to the Lord saying, okay. I said, where do you want to use me? And he during prayer, he just asked me like, what did you do in the past 10 years? Then later on, I just read, I was doing a little design things, like creative stuff. So creative design stuff. Then suddenly the opportunity came up from the WEC. They had like job roles. It's called like digital design. And they're looking for new generation as a missionary for focus on digital side. So I apply one. Yeah, so we've been through different process, like interview a lot. Yeah, in the end, we just I get that one. But at the beginning, I thought it's a job, right? Because it's a job title and job description, everything. And in the last interview, the people from WEC saying like, oh, first we don't pay people. I said okay, because I understand because I have something training from our church because our church we had like a mission team. They told me that there are several ways, right? One way is like you need to raise the funding for your ministry for yourself, right? Then second thing is you raise half, so mission organization will pay the half, another half, and 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 the
Isn't
way
that just what a father and husband wants to hear? You have to fundraise your salary.
and and but in the end, it turned out the workers they're using none of them. I said, what? I said, what do you mean by that? They said, because they're the one first core value is living by faith. At that time, I said, what? I understand. At that time, I read the Bible and truly I understand what the Word of God. He's our provider, right? We know everything. He's a provider, but at the moment that I found is this connection, it's like kind of like disconnection between the his wording and my thinking. It's completely cut off. It's I don't where's his provision? Like I can't understand because at the time I was working the full time, and my wife is looking after the kids. Then which means that we have to make a decision whether. When I told my wife at the beginning, she said, "You are crazy. How if you're gonna quit your full time job to serve the Lord?" So we don't have any no income basically, and if according to the WEC way, but WEC way say every time I ask the previous missionary, they're retired now, they said God will provide, but I didn't find it very efficient. Like I just feel it's a very thin air, when people reply you like God will provide. I know their experience was that this is their experience is not mine. So I couldn't connect at all. So, but guys really, I think he's one trustworthy because at the time I was wife and we prayed together. We saying like Lord, like I made a very simple prayer. I said, Lord, I said I got confirmation from the church. I got confirmation from brothers and sisters. I got confirmation from other people around me. But I only know I need to ask a very basic question. It's about finance. That's what, and you need to show me at least there's someone or something can support me, like And after that prayer, I think we waited about several months during the pandemic. And one day I received a message from an old sister from US, and she left a message early morning, and she said, "Jay, the day before yesterday, she was doing like morning prayer, and she just feel like God told her like give us some support." And when I first time I heard that one, I said, "Whoa, that's so strange." Like it's someone like you. Basically, we met. Why I'm saying it's strange is like we met each other on the public forum, like public group, and she only know about my I call Jay in that public forum, and that public forum is talking about the mission. Then second thing is she didn't know I was playing the mission organizations, and for me she's a stranger, complete stranger. She's not in the UK. She's not my friend circle, nothing. And I even called her later on. I said, "Sister, are you sure?" She said she was so happy because she said for her it's a journey. She said first time she heard some God call her to give some people money, and I said okay. Now, at the time I think my face is a little. I said I even asked her like, "Do you support me like a monthly or do you support me one-off. And she said, oh, this is one-off support. At that time, I said, Lord, I need someone like monthly support. No. To be honest, that is truly my honest, like that's my honest response I can share you with today. And but in the end, I talked to my wife. My wife said, oh, she said, oh, this is a sign. So that's what I'm praying for, right? But whatever she gave the monthly or she gave one-off, that's a sign that God's telling you He's gonna provide us. Then it's depend on my decision whether I took that step or not. So, brothers, I just tell you, like at that period of time, it's very difficult because every time after I receive this like donation, like every time I pray to the Lord, the answer from the Lord saying like you have to step out, then I will provide. But this wording for me is still disconnecting with my belief because my inner feeling, my true feeling is I don't want to step out.
Yeah,
I don't. It's like, but in the end, because we must to make a decision because at that time, the COVID is nearly finished in the UK, and in September, so the company is asking us to going back, and also the WEC training gonna start in September as well. So I have to make a very big decision whether I still going with the job or I just quit my job. But every time when I pray to the Lord just give me like, you have to step out. There's no negotiation. So last time we had the last prayer with the Lord, and I think the amazing thing is like my wife felt peace. She felt peace. So after she felt peace, she said, "Okay, now you can quit your job." So we took the leap of faith. So I quit my job on the end of August. So I started training with the WEC in 2020.
End of August 2020.
2020.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And moreover, some miracle thing happened straight after. You know, at that time I was still praying the Lord. I said, $2,000. That lady gave us like $2,000. I said, $2,000. Maybe I can give us lasting probably a month. I said, if I cover everything, because I have little saving. So I said, Lord, what about next month? What about October? If I can cover September, what about October? So at the beginning of the first week of the September.
So you put all of that 2,000 into Bitcoin, right?
No. I wish to. Yeah. And in the beginning of September, my wife is getting calls, a lot of strange calls. The people call up like, "Oh, Julie, I would like to come over to teach our kids the Chinese." And those people are not like I think it's different social circles from our social network, and they're from like the people from like we had the people from celebrities, the famous people, some people from the big corporation CEOs, and some of them they were in London like maybe 2 weeks, and they found our number to call up to teach the kids about Chinese. And later we're asking them like, where did you find our number? We don't have a website. So how did you find my wife's number? That's first question. So later on, I was praying to the Lord. I said, wait, I saw we are someone is like leaking our privacy. Like that's so strange. Why those people have my wife's number? And the Lord saying like, oh, you did that Google Map listening 5 years ago. Then I went back to check the old login. I logged in. It's like, the analytics of the Google Map. And that before 2020 August, it's flat. So in the and on the September, it's like shoot, like it's like a stock market. It's a shoot, like It's kind of like to the moon, like crypto to the moon. Yeah, and those people like they trying to those people they are in a normal way they were asking my wife to have like a good experience, right? Asking her should have like a experience and credential qualifications, those sort of thing. Yeah, none of them asking her to provide any of these. They were specific. They said, Julie, I want you to be here. So Monday to Friday. That's all. Then I suddenly realized, wow, it's only God possible to make them to looking for us specifically. If you type like Chinese Mandarin private tutor on the Google, there's a 10,000 results. How could Earth that one people can just funding one people and it just very specifically for our family? So I think only God can do that. So only God can, struck people's hearts saying, "Oh, I want to use you guys." We never met each other. So
I see.
yeah. So this is that's why my journey starts. So with a WEC, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good witness, and it's like it's even in my own life, I can look at the times where I've just been like, all right, Lord, when I try to do things myself, I screw up. If you want to use me, here you go. And isn't it incredible how, even in the scriptures, he says he will return 100-fold what we offer him, as just as single individuals who are us. We're just like, what do we even do? And, it's like even the sparrows get taken care of. It's like, does your heavenly Father not care for you too? It's like, well, of course he will.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
those are just things when we look at like what he talks about in the Gospels, when Jesus was amongst us, and it's like we're sometimes so trapped in our own humanity and the confines of this life that we forget that there are bigger powers at stake that can help intercede on our behalf in this life. And if we are so foolish to not take advantage of that enough, and it's just really a powerful witness that you and your wife provide here, and we appreciate you sharing that with us on the podcast here. So let's talk about how you got into this blockchain, this Web3 world. Where did that all begin?
Yeah. Okay, my blockchain journey. Yeah, I think. I just want to share a little bit. Yeah, today.
Yeah, perfect.
Because back in 2012, that is the first time I heard about Bitcoin. At that time, the Bitcoin is already in the UK. I remember that time is cost about £100, £100 in the UK. Then 2012.
2012. It would have been under. It would have been under. What would that have been, like $50-ish back then for us?
Guess, yeah,
maybe a little under $100.
Yeah, something like that. And I was stumble upon the Bitcoin for the first time, but my first initial thought is that's a scam. Because I just feel like, why seriously, like who want to trust their money, like feel like a digital fairy tale, like I cannot touch, I can. It's feel like that's so strange, like what that could have a value on there. So, but if after that I left that question, I didn't look at it at all until I met a friend in 2000, around after 2017. So one of my friend, he showed me about the CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks was released on the 2017. At that time, also making me more weird. Like I said, what? Why? Like at that time, I know everyone come crazy with our CryptoPunks. Like I said, why on earth would anyone pay a digital JPEG? Like why? So I still couldn't understand. Like even though I said, yeah, but that's the pixels. Yeah, I can do because I'm a designer. So I said I can do the pixel. I can pick the pixel, give you to you. Like So why should I spend like money on the JPEG? So for me, if I look back, I say my journey is like the first thing I say I misunderstanding about what really technology behind this. So but I think I really thank you. I have some friend there around me, so they are get into the space quite early. So they trying to not convince me, but just trying to. We have a conversations. So same as I ask him question, why would you buy the JPEG, you know, uh, kind of sort of thing. So later on they suggest me like you really need to should read about the white paper from the Bitcoin. Okay. Then I downloaded one, I found one, I downloaded one, I start reading the then after I read it one, wow. I think I after I started like diving deeper into crypto the to understand the blockchain, I just found wow, this is a lot of possibilities going on there because everything will start changing, and I understand the the functionality the behind the blockchain, and I think this will be game changer. I suddenly I just feel like wow, this is another uh, internet era when in the 90s when the internet came. There's another way, especially the decentralized way that wow, this is fundamentally change everything. So then I start digging more. So I took the. It's like life often takes us to an unexpected journey. It's like so. What once it seems like a scam, but it's been transforming. Like it's like adventures. I just feel there's more I want to understand rather than I stay very negative side. Like look at things or those things. Yeah, that's my little journey from how I get into.
It's kind of funny as you were talking about the mission stuff and all the risks that you had to kind of take on jumping into that. For the lack of a better word, we'll call it career change. But it kind of reminded me a lot of Matt's story, but also anybody else kind of moving into the Web3 space because you're transferring into like this whole new world, and there's like this risk involved with your salary. This token prices change here and there. So it's just a lot of similarities there with the undertaking of taking on a career journey like that. But and it was also super interesting is you're a missionary, but you're a digital missionary is what they're calling it, right? And that's your position. We talked to Adam Graber 2 weeks ago, and he's a digital theology major. Mm-hmm. So we have like this, like people don't really know what this is, like digital theology, like digital missionary. What does that mean? But you're exactly right. Like it's like a whole brand new world, and like these are very real things. When we have these guests on the show and they talk about these things, it might sound like a scam or like some because it's so strange to just how we're used to kind of viewing and taking in the world. But when you guys come on and you explain what you actually do, like it makes sense. Like I can totally see why that's a necessary thing, So it is definitely like people just need to be educated on what this space all is. But I'll turn it back to you, Matt. I know you had a question.
Sorry, no, I was just that's great. I like the connections being made. I just wanted to then, this next step. So we've talked about your mission organization, but then LightDAO, how did that come about? How did you whatever, we heard your Christian journey, we heard your your Web3 journey, and then how did that come together?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question because after I joined the WEG, then I started working a lot of missionaries because our WEG is quite big and old missionary organizations. So we had like over 2,000 missionaries in 190 countries. So it's like after I connect with a lot, the more I connect and more, the one issue I found is like they're trying to do some project, but they're difficult to raise funds. And some people have like a stereotype on the missionary they're thinking, oh, missionary trying to come here. So some, even though they're for them like quite difficult to raise in funding, because some people thinking missionary is like, oh, you're trying to exporting Christianity to another culture. Actually, no, it's not, because like they're actually discipling and make their with the what we call is a cross cultural mission, because we are not like exporting the Christian Western, like the Western Christian value to them, but what we want them to able to create something by themselves in order to worship our Lord. So, for example, we had a team that they used to be in Tibet, and that we had a team there. We trying to tell them how to write a worship song in Tibetan. We're not like exporting like hill songs, Bethel music to them, to ask them to sing the same song. We ask them to use their own instrument, use their own language, but how to write a song. But some of them, the villagers, they don't know how to write a song. But it's good they can use their own, everything they get, so they can praise the Lord with their own language, That, so I think there's still something, a stereotype thing going on within the church. People think, they still think of the old-fashioned way, the like old missionary in the past century. There, how they used to exporting. Yeah, so that's one thing.
And that's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't want to break up your story there, but yeah. So, like, what would it be like if you go to a culture? I mean, I assume Tibet, you said, right? I assume they have music, like they have a cultural music, or they just like, okay, gotcha. But the people there, at least were the Christians, didn't want musicians or songwriters, I guess, per se. But I was just curious, like, how would you translate? Because that's such an essential part of service or liturgy is, music. Like, how would you translate that to a culture that maybe doesn't exactly have that a cultural background? But I'm sure there's different solutions there.
So what? So
it's not a question. I'm sorry. I'm just
well, Connor, think about like the Puritans that came here to the United States. The music that they would have been surrounded by wasn't necessarily a part of their belief system, so they just obsoleted it altogether. Like they didn't do music at all, which is crazy to think about from where we sit. But when when there's probably such a cultural dissidence between what music is versus what your belief system is, I can see where the contrast lies. We just have never experienced that culturally to be able to understand what that might be like. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess even in the liturgy, like you don't have to sing it; you can speak it, right? But
well, for sure, but they don't even have liturgical hymns in their native tongue, so that's why they're going to be apprehensive towards it. Like that's not normal.
Yeah, I suppose, but. Okay, well, interesting discussion there, but I guess slightly off topic. So we get back to coming to LightDAO.
It is.
But, So after that, the first thing is the fundraising, right, for missionaries, and second thing, I met a lot of Christian artists, and I had one conversation with one of the Christian. He's a leading artist in the art space, and we had one conversation. It's just me. In the end, my heart is crying because he told me like because basically I asked him like, have you ever like show like your faith, right, in the art space? And he said he tried, he really tried, but he said that almost cost his career. So then I said, oh, okay, that is like kind of like, for myself, I feel sad because nowadays he can do some art, but it's like he can't express himself like his belief, like literally. He can sell art, definitely. He good at drawing and painting, but his art like couldn't speak life, couldn't speak any. Maybe they just become just sort of his income, like he's been like the band, like it's like I don't know, it's like he's been. It's not like he couldn't have like that kind of freedom to create. Maybe if God called him to do create something, one piece of art can speaks life, So for me, I said, okay, there's two things. I just realized, oh, that's. Then at that time, I think I was helping another Web3 project about NFTs. I said, okay, then I was praying to the Lord. I said, how could I help them? The first thing is the missionary from our organizations. Then I see other, because we had a lot of events, so I met other missionaries from other organizations as well. They are facing the same issues. Then second thing, the artists. I said, okay, Lord, how can I? Then the Lord instruct me, show me like, why don't you use an NFT then? I said, oh, that's a good idea. That is quite. The idea came to my mind just before the Compassion did the NFT project. So the Compassion, they did NFT project with Patrick, right?
I'm familiar with that. Yeah, the Compassion International.
Yeah,
we're trying to get.
Yeah.
We're trying to get. Gosh, what's his name again? I'm trying to get the guy who kind of set that up on a podcast.
And because the first time I start thinking about NFT, so which means I need to find someone in the NFT space who is Christian, right? So somehow God just amazingly connect me with Patrick and Lily. They're the first Christian artists released the first collection of the NFTs in the space. So suddenly we just connect up, and we just found like this is the way as a Christian we should do, because in that space, currently in that digital space, there's no Christian there. If you go to OpenSea now, if you type Christian, look at those that piece of thing. They're not representing any of our belief. They're not. It's like some people just dropping like copy like something like on that. It doesn't represent our belief, So I think after I met Chopachi, where later on we become very good friends, and we just feel like, oh, this we must do something within the space. So I at that time I said, Lord, I said first thing I don't have I have nothing. I don't have any funding, nothing. I don't have a team. I don't have nothing. But you call me like you have the verses we know very well. It's like we have to be the light of the world, right? And the world, what I feel saying like the world, there's a digital world as well, and nowadays you cannot separate the digital world with the physical world. But now we're Christian, we can live very good at in the physical world, but we're not good at in the digital world. So we need something to do something in that space that we can represent ourselves and we can distribute our value on the top of the digital. I think same as you guys, you are doing podcasting. That's also is the digital space. So you are doing great job. So then I start the project. So I start mentioning about start sharing my vision. I said we want to build NFT marketplace for Christian. So first thing I got feedback is people saying like, why do you want to build another kind of like OpenSea, same kind of OpenSea, space? And I said our original goal is we don't want to build another. We just want differentiate from the OpenSea, because currently there's no one in the space as a Christian. We're doing that. That's the first thing. I think same as when the Facebook came and Instagram came, there's no Christian doing that in the same social space, right? And we just hand it over. to those big corporations. Okay, now we have to under control them. Like if we say something, like there's a sensitive, you might get canceled. Yeah. So recently, as the cancel culture is so popular, so you get everyone can get canceled. So I said, why not? We can have our own space that we can have a piece of the. Like, what I feel is like I'm not building the marketplace. I'm just want the project be a beacon, or the project can represent a flag in that space. There, we're here. We're we're in the space. So we're actually uh make this land, start from that little land in the space, so we can declare, we are children of God, so we can do more things to influence other people. Otherwise, I think nowadays is either you are be an influencer or you'll be influenced. That's the only two options at the moment. Yeah. So that's why the yeah. Brandon?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally. So LightDAO is, like you say, it's kind of like a Christian alternative to OpenSea, conceptually. But like, where are we at with the project? Is it live? Can people go to LightDAO right now, or is it still in development?
Because currently we are very slow because a lot of people was volunteering, and later on the God brought some people to us, and because people working in different zones. So now we finished the front end and some part of back end, and currently we are waiting because the thing is because people working as a volunteer, I don't want to pushing people because their time is so precious, and currently we don't have any we didn't do any fundraising, to be honest. So we're just waiting. We're still praying like to the Lord, saying like we're probably at current state we're looking for some partners. We don't want to call them as investors, but we're looking for partners that they can partner with our journey. Because I do believe because we designed the LightDAO as a DAO using the DAO mechanism. So we're trying to make this as a marketplace as a DAO organization. So then later on, even some people pass away, it doesn't matter. So it still can going on. So if his will, he can instruct us to a person or networking with a new person to support us, to finish the whole product. That's kind of stage S,
We kind of need like Christian VCs. Go ahead, Matt.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to ask a bit. So you mentioned you set it up as a DAO. I was kind of curious about the DAO and maybe what your vision is for the project as a whole. But one concern that I had was that if you set up a DAO and depending on what gives voting power, right, whether it's a token or something else, I don't know, you almost open yourself up for attack, from other values, right? If some secular or some atheist organization was like, we don't like LightDAO, so we're going to buy up half the tokens, then we're going to vote to shut it down, or whatever they want to do. And so I'm curious what how do you want the DAO to function? Are there are you limiting what the DAO does? Are you and then just in general, what's the vision for the project? What separates you from, is it just a Christian OpenSea? Are you gonna, is there like the fees go to charity, or is I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. It's two things.
Yeah, I think the DAO we're not using the token, but we're using NFTs. Okay, that's what so we can have a control of like what organization can get or what person they can get NFTs, so they can be part of the community. They can vote. Yeah, so they'll help us not getting other like atheists, those. But we make sure that we stay very clear that the project is Christian faith-based marketplace. So which means every art going on, we have a selections process that they can, in order to monitoring, to select, so that will help us to do that. So yeah.
Okay, that is cool.
So
and
is
then
the DAO live? Mm-hmm.
DAO, no, because we're trying to build up that one first. And
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So then the marketplace, is it like you're saying you have to like approve of the artist before they can
Yeah,
get on? I'm just
yeah,
trying to again figure
yeah.
out a differentiator between yourself and OpenSea. So you're also
It's
kind of
yeah.
curating.
If you like, it's like another version of the face-based super rare.
Mm.
But super rare, they select certain art
Oh, okay.
to get on. So yeah,
Okay.
Foundation
Very
did that for a little while too. I think they're
yeah,
open now. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think there's an argument for like a curated
yeah.
NFT marketplace, and
I,
just with
I,
the
I
power.
think yeah. Before we start this project, right after basically, we did like market research, and we found out that they're Christian. They're looking for Christian art,
Yeah,
and there are some people looking for digital art. They couldn't find anywhere space they can do, especially like the searching. If you do searching on the Rebel and OpenSea element NFT space there, marketplace there, they normally they don't give you like right search results.
yeah,
So we want a more specific for the people collecting, and also I want to show the people about the Christian artists. They can do the face based art. So same
yeah.
as a Patrick, what he did. His if you I don't know if you guys see his art. Like actually his art speaks life. So
Mm.
some people could benefit, even though they're in depression, everything. When they see the art, because I do believe, even I have another thought about like we trying to encourage the people from church. Some people when they join the prophetic art, right? That is very powerful. It's really really powerful. That's it will just deliver the right message on right moment. So we want to show that as a part of our if in the future we want to show on the marketplace as well. So basically, our model is like we're trying to there's sales on the marketplace on the piece of art. Basically we just start from the art first, and then we give out the percentage to the mission, or you can give out like a certain percent toward to the specific missionary project. So then people can see the transparent transaction. So yeah.
Gotcha. I think too, like I see the argument for like having Christian alternatives to things just as much as I see the argument for having, we just need to be where everybody is, right, in the public. If everybody's on OpenSea, we need to be on OpenSea. But what's particularly interesting about like the NFT space is that just because somebody lists on this marketplace, LightDAO, they can still list on OpenSea. Their stuff can still be public on these other NFT marketplaces. But the problem, like you say, is that OpenSea doesn't let you curate by, Christian art. So you can't really find the Christian artists. So, and even if OpenSea does add a filter that lets you sort by Christian artists or whatnot, it's not curated. So of course could be all sorts of stuff in that tag that may or may not be relevant. Number one, and but then also like you just have this other place, LightDAO, where Christians can kind of just make their presence known, in a very selective way, and it just adds like a dimension to the space that is not there right now. But it's not as limiting as a totally siloed alternative, because like you said, you can't list on OpenSea, you can list on LightDAO and all these things. So I personally see the value to a project like that. Absolutely. And just like you said, it kind of just gives us a platform to say, hey, there are Christians in this space, and we're doing legitimate things, and we can kind of build that community around that.
And you guys, like, I just take example. Are you all on the PC, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If right now, if you go to OpenSea and type Christian art, it will surprise you.
Probably gonna get some heretical stuff. I'm on it right now.
Hey, share a screen. Let's just.
Okay,
we got like 5. We can do like 5. Maybe we can go a little over, like 10 minutes. But just to kind of give you an idea of where we're at. But
yeah, look at that. It's a Christian art. And look at those.
I mean, I don't.
It's like a dude named Christian, and he just makes the weirdest art. No.
Well, I can tell this stuff. This is AI generated for sure. That looks like not Midjourney, but what's that other one?
But Dolly. I think that
Dolly. That looks like Dolly. Yeah, but some of the stuff definitely. I don't want to call out any of these artists specifically, but yeah, some of the stuff looks a little strange.
Yeah, but the thing we finding out the NFT space is stuck. Basically, it's stuck. So I think as our project, we're trying to communicate with more artists, because this summer I went back and I talked to some artists. They're still in the web, like old traditional way. They are paint. They haven't get into the digital space. So we're trying to mobilize them. They can do digitalized thing, because next generation will be digitalized. A lot of them will be digitalizing. So we're trying to get more like people on the board and understand this important, because nowadays the young people, they're on the phone, always on the phone. The pre-pandemic, the people spend like about 4.3 hours average per day, but now it's like 7.7 hours per day. So it's nearly double.
Yeah.
So it's like, why we think like this? Why now the young generation have suffering much more mental health issues? Because look at those things, what they're feeding them, the thing they see, the thing they saw, they heard, actually they continue feeding them, because we don't have enough Christian content to influence them. So only another way around, they'll be influenced by those worldview and everything. It causes them into too much confusion. Yeah. So we want to be same. I agree with Connor. Like because our platform can, if someone lists on, so their stuff also can list on the OpenSea and on other marketplace as well. So it's fully blockchain. Only difference is we can do a little bit filtered, like just helping those young, probably like other face-based artists. They have the voice, I think, to share their face, their journey as well. Yeah.
Very cool. Brandon, do you have any closing questions? I know we're kind of just out of time here, but I wanted to throw it back to you.
No, this was
you haven't had as much time.
This was a really good episode, and I'm excited to put it out there. Just because this intersects a lot of what we like to talk about, which is parallels between the Web3 world and Christianity, and where Christians have a platform in there and where Christians can have a voice. And considering all the FUD right now in the market, this is a good time to build. And what a better time to just get the ball rolling if you want to wet the beak in this space. You've always been skeptical about it because of the types of people that are on this. I mean, you have kindred spirit here in LightDAO, in some of these projects and people that we've been bringing on. So I feel like skepticism can be put to bed a little bit in regards to some of that. So check out LightDAO. Jay, where can people follow you and your projects and everything like that?
Yep. You can find us on the lightdao.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And we'll leave links to LightDAO in the description below. But Jay, this was awesome. We appreciate having you. Hopefully we can have you back someday. And yeah, this has been the Crypto Conversion Podcast. Please like, comment, review, subscribe wherever podcasts are found, and we will see you on the next episode. Peace.